Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So, very exciting news for all your GeForce Now fans, as they've announced new games that are coming to the service and new ways to play, and also a new way that they're going to be keeping things updated just to, keep that consistency going in 2021. So, let's find out a little bit more about those announcements, shall we? So the first one, and perhaps the most exciting one, is that now GeForce Now is going to work straight from your Chrome browser. So, pretty much any device that you're using on, whether that be Windows, a Chromebook, something like your Mac as well, you'll just be able to go straight to GeForce Now and load from the browser, which just makes things a little bit more convenient. There's nothing necessarily wrong with the apps, but it just means it's a little bit easier for Nvidia to keep things up to date and feature parity right across all of the different devices. And hopefully as well, it means that more work's going to be going into the web apps. So when it comes to things like iOS and iPadOS, we might start to see things like mouse and keyboard support coming along the lines. And it's going to be a limitation in Safari, but who knows if they're working on just web apps rather than actually applications that can be on your desktop devices, then fingers crossed something might come in the very near future. We've tried it out quite a few times in the Chrome browser and it works superbly well. In fact, it kind of was one of the best ways to play it rather than having to load up the application, and I'm not entirely sure why. There must be some kind of science or tech behind it, but from the Chrome browser things worked really, really well. So it's definitely something to try out yourself. The next one, and this is great news if you are an M1 Mac user, is that there is now native support for GeForce Now on M1 Macs, which again comes in really handy. Paired with the fact that it's cloud gaming and then the awesome battery life that you get from something like the Apple Silicon M1 Max, things get really, really exciting in that regard, because you could ultimately have a portable gaming device that is just capable of game streaming for a very, very long time without having to charge up the battery all the time. Liam took this one for a ride and he found that it worked incredibly well. It was basically like he was playing the games on the device itself, and that comes in handy because if you're the kind of person who's picked up an M1 Mac, or a Mac for that matter, you know full well that there isn't really too much to do in terms of gaming. So with GeForce Now natively supported on the M1 Max, that is a massive boost for those of you who've picked it up. And like I said, in Liam's experience of it, it worked extremely well. He has a really, really awful connection at his house. I think it's less than 10 megabits. So things are exceptionally slow, but actually playing Destiny here, things worked well, there wasn't too much latency, and it was a very, very playable experience. So that's good news. It's all been baked and working very well on M1 Max. So if you've got one and you've been holding out for this, or you've been using Rosetta to use the just a native Intel version of it, well, you're in luck, it's ready to go. There were some further announcements as well, because it's the 1 year anniversary of GeForce Now launching, well, officially for consumers anyway, and there were some pretty interesting things here. We're going to be getting new games across February, so that's pretty exciting, and that comes from a whole backlog of different games. So it's nice to see that Nvidia are finally managing to get more and more games, and I think this is one of the largest amounts of games that we've seen launch in a single month. So again, very exciting, and we will have those kind of popping up across your screen as well, and a couple of lists there so you can see what sort of games are coming. There's some kind of indie games on there that people haven't necessarily heard of or aren't getting a massive amount of support, but then there are some pretty big name games. And one of the big ones that's coming is Apex Legends. How that will end up working is yet to be seen, and we'll be sure to try it out just to see, because ultimately you're playing a competitive online multiplayer shooter and you want to have the best input that you possibly can, and you don't want to have lag or anything like that. So that's going to be very interesting to see how it actually worked on GeForce Now and whether or not it's playable in a competitive capacity. I doubt it will be, but I guess if you're just somebody who wants to have a bit of fun and play with friends, it's going to be on this service. So we'll be sure to take that out for a spin and see how it works. Another exciting thing that came off the back of their announcement with their 1 year anniversary is the fact they're now going to be doing something called GeForce Thursdays, which basically means every single Thursday they are going to have new game announcements and new feature announcements. And one of the reasons they are doing this is so that they can stay on track with things coming in the future, and it kind of holds them to a beholden date where they absolutely must have some news for us. So I find that pretty exciting. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see loads of big things coming from them in the future, but they seem pretty confident. If they're going to be filling every single Thursday with some news that excites us, then they've probably got a few things up their sleeves that they're coming in the very near future, and hopefully every single Thursday we will at least see some new games come to the library or some new features as well. So far 2021 is shaping up to be a very exciting year for Nvidia GeForce Now, and if you're in the cloud gaming space, it's a great time to be there. If you haven't tried it out already, it's certainly worthwhile giving it a go because they have a free tier. Although one thing that we found is the queue times at the moment on their free tiers are just absolutely astronomical. Liam was having to queue up for about 200 to 300 players, and it was taking him forever at any peak times to get onto it. And a lot of you have commented as well in previous videos that the queue times are just shooting up. Another thing that shows off how popular the service is at the moment is that Nvidia have removed the 1 month Founders Edition. You can't buy it anymore. You have to buy it in a 6-month package. Seems a bit odd that they can still have capacity for a 6-month capacity, but not a monthly subscription, but meh. Who knows how these things work in the background, but it sure shows that in the background somewhere, this is becoming a more and more popular service. And fingers crossed with that happening, they'll be able to get some investment in there to get other developers on board with some more games in the future. So stay tuned, we will have more news for GeForce Now in the future. We'll take Apex Legends out for a spin just to see how well it works in terms of a cloud gaming service, and we will do some more tests as more features come to this. So, hope you've enjoyed that video. If you have, hit the subscribe button and come along for some more awesome content in the future. In the meantime, stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye.